As long as it's one.
Okay, okay. Any questions? Any questions? Have you got a new light? Oh, yes, I have. It's the Falcon Eyes F7 RGB Pockelite, and I'm going to be reviewing it very soon. Any more? Any more questions?
Yes. What's your favourite cheese?
Ta-da! A little while ago, I bought a couple of bi-colour flexible LED lights. They were made by Falcon Eyes, and I was really impressed. They were great value for money, and I wonder if somebody from Falcon Eyes might have seen that video, because they kindly offered to send me one of their F7 RGB Pockelite to review. That's very nice of them, and of course I will. And as well as the light itself, they also sent a nice little carry pouch for it, very soft, a diffuser which slides on the front, a honeycomb which also slides on the front, a very nice looking double-ended ball mount, and a cold shoe mount. The light itself is really neat, very clean design, and about the size of a large phone. It's got an internal battery, 3000 milliamp hours apparently, and when you wind it up, it's pretty bright. Operating the light is very straightforward. Hold the on-off button for 2 seconds and it'll fire up. The function dial then controls the colour temperature, and you can wind it all the way down to 2500 Kelvin and all the way up to 9000. That's a very good range. And in bi-colour mode like this, the CRI is supposed to be 97, which is very good. Press the on-off set button quickly and you'll go into RGB mode. Now press the function dial in and you can adjust the hue all the way through 360 degrees. Press the function dial again and you're now adjusting the saturation all the way down to 0. Now it's at this point that I'm going to show my ignorance a bit, because before this light arrived I imagined an RGB light would just be RGB LEDs. I didn't realise this was RGBW, which is effectively a bi-colour with a white light mode and then the RGB LEDs. And winding out the saturation to 0 on the RGB is not the same as pure white. If you look really closely at the RGB LEDs, you can actually see them stepping through the shades of colour between the red, the green and the blue. And in my ignorance, I must admit, I was a little disappointed, because I was hoping I'd be able to adjust the colour of white light. It sounds stupid, but I was hoping I could take out green or magenta to balance off a Sony camera or fluorescent lights. But you need to think of this light as a bi-colour with an RGB function. And don't get me wrong, the RGB is very useful. I can imagine putting this in the back of shot just as an effects light on shelves and things, just to add a bit of colour to the background. And this light has one more mode. If you press the set button again, you're into now special effects. And you can use the function dial to cycle through all the different special effects with little icons to let you know what they are. Unfortunately, none of these effects are adjustable. Not even the brightness dial does anything in this mode. And you can't alter the speed of anything. So I'm not sure how useful it is. But press the button again and you're back into normal white mode. And as I said earlier, you also get a plastic rubbery feel diffuser. It slips on the front. In fact, the easiest way to put this on is to slide it onto the light. These tabs at the back feel quite fragile, but it does slide on and it stays there. Be interesting to see if you can use this as a key light instead of the conventional flex panel I'm using at the moment. Let's see. And now the only light on me is the F7 Pockelite, apart from the backlight of course. And that's very impressive, because although it's running at 100%, it's the same distance away that I had the bi-colour flex panel. And I haven't touched the camera tool, I haven't touched the exposure. So I reckon this is usable in an interview situation. Now the only thing I would say is that this diffuser does cut out quite a bit of light. It's quite thick. and it needs to be further away really. It's not a soft box. But considering, it doesn't work too badly. Much more useful for me is this honeycomb. Again, much easier to slide it on than to try and stretch those bands at the back. And I've found this works very well. It cuts out a lot of the spill you get from flat LEDs. And although it cuts out some light, it's much more useful for me than the diffuser. This has been on the light almost permanently since I got it. It's good. The quality of the ball mount and the cold shoe that you get in the kit is really good, although you do need a female to female if you want to use them together and put them on a camera like this. But this works well, and I'm a big fan of small, lightweight setups. Now, using this light in bi-color mode, which is probably the mode I'll be using the most, at 100% brightness, I've been getting over an hour and a half's constant use. And surprisingly, in RGB mode, you get almost 2 hours. If you need more, you can always use the supplied USB-C to USB-A connector and run it while you're charging. Although if you do this, it'll only run at 70% brightness, not 100. I think you're probably trying to pull too much power if you're running the light and charging at the same time. I found this light a really useful addition to the kit. It charges quickly, it's very bright, apparently 4000 lux at just 1 foot. But a really good tip: forget the diffuser and the honeycomb, turn it up to 100% and bounce it off a reflector. It makes a really nice soft light even for interviews. So this is more than a top light or an effects light. You could actually use this as part of a flyaway kit. And there are magnets in the back, so you can stick it to something metal, but I'm not sure what the point is because it has to be very flat. So good for the fridge or party tricks. I've been using this light for quite a few weeks now, and I found it really useful. Not just the bi-color stuff, but also the RGB for putting color washes on backgrounds or color in shelves and on ornaments and what have you. It's a really useful light to have as part of your kit. And it's definitely going to be part of my kit. I'm not just saying that because Falcon Eyes have sent me one. I might actually buy another one. Because I haven't told you the best bit yet. This light sells in the UK for less than £140, and that's great value. There's only one thing I don't think I'll ever use, and that's the scene files or the special effects. I can't think of one occasion when I'd ever use those. Leggit!